The history of rockets. The earliest record that we have of rockets is in the late 3rd century China. The Chinese would fill bamboo stalks with saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal. These would explode with loud booms when thrown into a fire. If some of them were improperly sealed, they would actually propel out of the fire in a rocket-like way. In 1232 AD, rocket fire arrows were used in order to repel the Mongols when they attacked China. In Britain, the Britain's official space program was founded in 1952, but before that, the British had the British Interplanetary Society, which was founded in 1933. The BIS, it was also known as the BIS. The BIS came up with an idea in the late 1930s to get people on the moon. Their design was a multi-stage rocket, with each stage having several solid fuel rockets, and the end project resembled the lunar module very much because the United States was said to take inspiration from the BIS's design. However, unlike the BIS, the British government's interest in space was primarily military. The BIS and the British government are completely separate. Towards the end of 1954, the British government in Operation Backfire was able to capture enough of German V-2 rockets to study them. They used captive German scientists to gain much of their understanding of the V-2 rockets. The knowledge that the British gained this way was so much that a man named R.A. Smith proposed the Mega Rock rocket. The Mega Rock was to be a modified enlarged V-2-like rocket, and it was supposedly going to be big enough to carry exactly one man into space. However, the British government denied this proposal. Another failed proposal was the Blue Streak ballistic missile, which was canceled due to lack of funding. However, the Blue Streak missile inspired the Black Knight rocket, which was developed as a test for a re-entry vessel for the Blue Streak missile. The Black Knight first launched in Australia and was launched another 22 times successfully before being shut down. This success meant that Britain looked into adapting the Black Knight into another ballistic missile and as another launch vessel, which was eventually evolved into the Black Prince. Black Prince was a proposed satellite expendable launch program. It was envisioned to be a multi-stage rocket with combining both the Blue Streak missile and the Black Knight. The Black Prince had a lot of support, mostly from the government. However, it was expensive, and though the British pitched the Black Prince to its funding partners across the world, the funding wouldn't come in, so the Black Prince was shut down. This, however, was a good thing because the experience and technology gained by all these rockets before finally bore the Black Arrow. The Black Arrow was a satellite carrier rocket, and it was launched 4 times. In 1971, the 4th and final time it launched, the Black Arrow became the first and last successful satellite orbital launch from a British-built rocket. It launched Prospero, a small satellite which is still in low Earth orbit to this day, even though the final transmission happened in 1973. Up until 2018, the British government has been kind of on a hiatus with their rockets. However, in 2018, they announced that they had plans to build the first British-built rocket to launch from a British launch site, which would hopefully be able to launch in 2021. And that's where that's where the British is at today. Hopefully in 2021 they can launch this rocket. The only successful rocket launch that they ever happened, like I said, was the Black Arrow. All of those engineers, since the British space program, haven't really done anything. They've all actually come to NASA, and they've helped NASA launch a whole bunch of rockets. So we'll see what happens in the future.
We calculated how far an object would have to be in order for the rocket to hit it. We calculated that to be 115.8 inches. The way we got that was we got our velocity times a certain time that we calculated from that we had to get from a really hard equation, and multiplying it with that time gave us our final distance, which was 115.8 inches. They bought a rocket to see how precise we can put an object to be able to hit it. So basically, we needed to find the initial velocity, which was 57.9 inches per 0.5 seconds, which is 115.9 inches per second. And to find that, we needed to find the width and height, which was 15 inches by 12 inches. And then we had to, well, just multiply it by 2 to get the 115.9 inches per second. And then, yes.
I think it's going to be too heavy to lift.
All right.
Let's see.
How much
3, 2, 1. Oh, dang.
You added extra water.
That just busted?
in the
Yeah,
span
man,
of
it's
16
frames.
frames?
Yeah. Went better than last time.